Hey everybody, and welcome to week 3 of Open Driveways. Hope you're doing well and hanging in there all right. So when we think about basketball and we're getting the ball from one place to another, there's typically 2 different ways we can do it. One is by dribbling it there, but 2 is by passing it there. Through weeks 1 and 2, I feel like we've taken a pretty good look at that first option, dribbling it there. We've taken a look at our ability to really handle the ball, control the ball, and do with it what we want to be able to do. Well, here in week 3, we're really going to dive into passing. Passing is a part of the game that is extremely critical. Whether it's because we picked the dribble up, maybe we're about to dribble into a double team, regardless of the situation, being able to pass the ball, get it out of trouble, or get it into an area that is going to allow our offense to attack better is extremely important. So we're going to dive into this today. We're going to learn 4 different ways to pass the ball. As we go through these, kind of like we did last week, take them one step at a time. So we're going to start with chest passes. Really feel like you get a good grip on chest passes before moving on. Once you move on to the other types, kind of establish yourself with those before moving on to the next one. Everything we've done so far has been something that you can do by yourself, just you and a basketball. And that's still true today, except I will say it's going to be a lot easier to do these drills today if you do have a partner, a sibling, a parent, someone who's able to go outside and actually do these with you. That way you actually have someone to pass the ball to. Now, if you don't have someone, that's totally fine. You can still work this out one way or another on your own. My recommendation is maybe find a chair that would act as a good target for you. If you have a wall that you can use, maybe some sort of brick wall or any sort of wall that you can use to pass off of that isn't going to hurt or break anything, maybe put a piece of tape on that wall, use it as a target, and use that to help yourself get better. But everything we do today will be much easier if you have a partner. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and dive into this. This is week 3 of Open Driveways, passing. The first thing we're going to work on today is our jump stopping ability. Jump stops are really important because whenever we're dribbling the ball, we need to be able to come to a stop quickly whenever we need. If we don't have a set way of coming to a stop, we're likely to drag a foot, travel, and then turn the ball over. In order to jump stop, as we're dribbling the ball, we will leave the ground and land with both of our feet hitting the ground at the same time with all of the weight on our toes or on the front part of our foot. Now, it's really important for both feet to hit the ground at the same time. Number 1, so that we're balanced, and number 2, so that we're able to use either foot as a pivot foot should we need. And that's going to be really important throughout the next few drills we do here today. Remember with these, stay balanced, stay controlled, and you don't have to jump super high. Once we have jump stopped, we can now pivot. Pivoting is how we improve our passing lanes and create space without dribbling. Now, like I said, it was extremely important that both feet landed on the ground at the same time so that either of our feet could become our pivot foot. For this example, I've chosen my right foot as my pivot foot. That means that I can move my left foot anywhere I want, as long as that right toe does not move its mark. If it does, that will be a travel and a turnover. While we're pivoting, it's always important to stay balanced. We never want to get our weight way too far out on our front foot or our non-pivot foot so that it forces us to drag our pivot foot and travel. We always want to stay balanced with the ball in a pretty solid, strong position close to our chest and chin. And we want to pivot around strong, elbows out, not throwing our elbows around, but using them to create space and establish our position. Be strong with these. No one should ever be able to rip the ball away from you while you're pivoting. The first pass we're going to go over today is the chest pass. The chest pass is used whenever there are no defenders in the passing lane and there's a clear direct route for the ball to get from you to your teammate. Chest passes should be thrown with a good step forward with either foot, depending on which foot is your pivot foot, with a good backwards rotation of the ball all the way to your teammate. It's important to hit your teammate in the chest with this pass. This pass should be on a line, and there should be no loop in the pass. It should be a straight line from you to your teammate.
Once the ball has left your hands, your thumb should be pointed towards the ground. This flick of your wrists as you make this pass will give the ball that good backwards rotation and will help you maintain accuracy as you continue to make these passes. Chest passes are great when there aren't too many defenders around, but what about whenever there's a defender closely guarding us, and the person we need to get the ball to has someone closely guarding them? That's where our bounce passes come into play. Bounce passes are extremely important, especially because most of the critical points in the game when we have to make good passes, we're going to be closely guarded. The first bounce pass we're going to work with here is our step out bounce pass. Step out bounce passes use the non-pivot foot to step out and around the defender to give us a better passing lane. So if my pivot foot is my left foot, I'm going to step out around a defender with my right foot to make a good bounce pass. If my pivot foot is my right foot, I'm going to step out with my left foot to give me an angle to get the ball to my teammate. When I'm passing on the right side, I'm going to use my right hand. If I'm passing on the left side, of course I'm going to use that left hand. If you need to use both hands right now to make this pass, that's okay. We're going to work up to being able to throw this with one hand. Of course, it's important to stay balanced, just like with our pivoting, keep our eyes up, and make a good, strong pass that hits our teammate in the chest. It can be a little difficult to find the right place to hit the ground with this pass, but as you work on it, really find a spot on the floor that you need to hit to get that ball to bounce back up to your teammate and hit them in the chest. I recommend using a chair whenever we first start to learn these, just to give us kind of a better idea of the angle we need to create around a defender who would be standing in front of us. Now imagine a scenario where you're pivoting on your right foot, and then we realize we need to throw a bounce pass to the right side of our defender. Well, now since the pivot foot is our right foot, we can't do a step out bounce pass to the right. This is where our crossover bounce passes come into play. We can still throw a bounce pass to the right, even with our right foot being the pivot foot, by simply taking our left foot, crossing over our body, extending out, and throwing it with our right hand. Same can be done on the left side when our left foot is our pivot foot. Our right foot can cross over the front of our body to allow us to throw a bounce pass out and to the left. Regardless of which foot is our pivot foot, regardless of how the defense plays us, which direction they lean, we have a tool in our toolbox to allow us to get the ball around them. Whether it be a step out bounce pass or a crossover bounce pass, we're now going to be prepared to make the pass that we need to make. The final of our 4 pass types is the overhead snap pass. The overhead snap pass is used whenever we would typically use maybe a chest pass, but the distance to our teammate is farther than we could normally get a chest pass. An overhead snap pass should never have a loop in it, just like we said with our chest passes, and there should really be something on this. This should be a pretty hard pass, and you're looking to hit your teammate somewhere between the chest and face. That's the target area to give them a good opportunity to catch it. If we're throwing it at their waist or at their knees, it's going to be really hard to catch a pass that's coming with as much velocity as this should have. One important note on this: when we bring this ball up above our head, it should never come back closer to our neck. It really shouldn't go any farther back than the back of our head. That's why it's a snap pass. We don't bring it all the way back and loop it up over our head. We keep it right above our head and quickly snap it to where we need it to go. I would really recommend nailing down all the bounce passes and chest passes before moving to the overhead snap pass. If there's a pass that you want to make and the only way to get it there is with an overhead snap pass, to be honest, there's a decent chance that that's not a pass we want to be making anyway. It's a good tool to have, but I really like to focus on the other 3 passes first.
So now we're going to take a look at a few in-game examples of these bounce passes being made. First, we're going to see a step-out bounce pass to the right, followed by a crossover bounce pass to the left. Our third example is going to show a situation where we had to really speed things up in order to take advantage of an out-of-place defender. Let's take a look. First, we're going to see a perfect example of a step-out bounce pass to the right side. It was a good read of JT to identify the move he needed to make. Let's watch it in slow motion. Once he gets the ball, he's going to realize right about here that this ball needs to go to Gabe on the block. But because of where his defense was positioning, sagging off so much, and because this defender was playing on the high side of the post player, there was no way that JT could just make a chest pass into the paint. There typically never is. So what JT does is he takes a step to the right and sets this defender up to make a good pass. He's going to plant the left foot right about here, step out wide with the right foot, and put a bounce pass to where only Gabe can grab it. That's a textbook bounce pass and a good job to set up the and one. Now we're going to see an example of a crossover bounce pass. Louis is going to dribble towards the corner on the far side of the court. Once he establishes a left foot pivot foot, he's actually going to give an upwards ball fake, which is going to get his defender in the air and allow him to cross over with his right foot to make a perfect bounce pass to Gabe on the block. I really want us to note how he sets up this defender here. Now, setting up defenders is something I've mentioned 2 weeks in a row because we talked about it with our dribbling moves, our ball handling moves, and now we're talking about it with passing as well. It's important to get the defenders where you want them to be to allow you to make a good move, whether that be dribbling, passing, or anything. Watch as Louis gets his man in the air. It's really going to open up the left side for him. So he plants the left foot, gets his man up, and allows him to cross over with that right foot to give a good pass to hit Gabe in the chest. Now, this last bounce pass is a little bit different than the other two in that the technique isn't exactly textbook, but there's a reason for it. I want you to watch what Tyler Holtz does as this play develops. He's going to be over here in this right-hand corner. He will identify that Gabe is coming open on the bottom side block because the other team's lowest defender is guarding the free throw line. So once this pass gets made to him, it was a quick reaction to put something on a pass to get it to the block quickly. He has to use a bounce pass because the defender has come across and taken away any chest passing lane that he would have. Let's watch. That's quick decision making and it paid off with a bucket. Now let's slow this down. When he gets this pass, he's already ready to make his pass. And while he doesn't have time to step out, he reads that it has to be a bounce pass or it's not going to get there. A great read and a great job to see the floor and identify the play that is developing. So as you can see, great passes lead to great looks, and great looks are always going to translate into points. Passing is extremely critical and should never be overlooked. Continue to work through these week after week along with the other two videos, and we'll continue to round out all aspects of our game. That's going to wrap up week 3. Stay tuned. Next week, we're going to dive into shooting. I know there's been at least a few of you out there who've been looking forward to that one, and I promise it is coming. It's just really important to focus on all these other aspects of our game as well. We don't get the opportunity to shoot if we can't handle the ball first, if we can't pass the ball around the perimeter into the paint. That's how we create the shot opportunities. So all of these really have to be taken care of first before we can turn our attention to actually putting the ball in the rim. Since this week is a little bit shorter as far as the number of moves we're introducing and the number of passes, given that it's just 4 that we're going over, we also have a new video coming out this week about defense. I have a special guest named Coach Wagler who's going to stop by, visit with us a little bit, and go over his 5 key points to becoming a good defender, all of which I really agree with and I think will help all of us to hear. So be on the lookout for that. If it's not out already, should be at least coming out shortly here within the day or two. So if you ever have any questions, always feel free to reach out. We'd love to hear from you. I would love to know how many people are actually kind of going through these on their own and if they've enjoyed the process and feel like they're being able to get things out of them. So as usual, feel free to reach out if you want. We will talk to you next week, like I said, when we come out with our shooting video for week 4. So take care, everybody. Talk to you later.